on 0, I guess. As you wish, Sönke. Yeah, so whoever already joined on time at 12 today, welcome. We wait a couple of 1 or 2 minutes to get everybody the chance to join this tech talk, and then we'll start soon. Once we hope you all find the moment to enjoy your lunch time with us. It's Stackable. Yeah, we could play music, which we don't. So I just keep on talking a little bit in the background. But yeah, as people are starting to move in, yeah, welcome to today's tech talk already. We wait a couple of more moments to get everybody the chance, and then we start. 12:01. Yeah, let's give it a couple of more minutes, and then we start things off. So I repeat myself, anybody who just joined, welcome. You're at the right place and right time for today's tech talk. We'll start in a bit. Don't worry, don't go anywhere. We just keep waiting for a couple of people to join us, and then we will start any moment. We could sing a little bit, but we don't. We spare you that experience. Yes, so maybe we just wait a little more, because people would miss the introduction, and we're not in a hurry, at least. So that should work. Yeah. Again, I see people joining. So I repeat myself, welcome to Stackable's Tech Talk. We are waiting for last people to get a chance to start. So we'll start any minute. Thank you for participating already, and we'll start any moment. Yeah, let's make it 12:05, I would say, officially, and everybody had the chance to be there on time or be late. So that's yeah, let's make it fair for the ones already here and others joining. So let's wait 2 more minutes, and then we can start. Yes, so people still joining. Yeah. As always, we hope that technology works and we bring together 2 platforms, one streaming on LinkedIn and streaming on YouTube. We don't do that too often at Stackable, so we hope that everything works stable and expected. For those who just joined, thank you for joining. We'll start, as we said, 12:05. Just waiting for the last people to join. We got a question that's also working, also a good test. Is it best to join on LinkedIn or YouTube? Both ways work, I would say, as you like. There shouldn't be any big difference. Yeah, both streams shall work with this platform, and yeah, So let's wait just a short moment and then we start as promised. Yeah. Again, thank you for joining. We start right away at 12:05, which is at my time right now. So let's keep moving. I switch screens here. Let me set this up. Sorry, just give me a second. Yes, welcome everybody to today's Stackable Techtalk. Together with GBIF, we're really happy to have Aleksander with us and obviously Lars, but they will introduce themselves in a second. I'm just doing a quick intro for all of you, and then we hand it off to the important people in this virtual room, so to say. Thank you very much for joining us over lunch. We know time is valuable to spend with us, so we keep this sharp, insightful, and packed with hopefully a lot of takeaways today. As you saw, we'll dig into GBIF's journey to a modern open source data platform. We think that's an exciting journey they took, and we chose not a slide presentation, but we chose a different format to make it more entertaining. So it will be an interview between Lars and Aleksander. They prepped a little bit in the past, and that's about the short intro. And with that, I will hand it over to Lars, who will give a short intro on what you could expect in the next couple of minutes, and then we take it away, I would say. Lars.
Thank you very much.
Up to you.
Yep, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Enjoy your lunch. As Fabian said, I'll get started with our 256-slide sales presentation, and then we'll hand off to the interview. So slide number 1. Welcome to the Tech Talk. As I said, the agenda, it's not quite 256 slides. First, welcome and introduction. This is where you are right now. Then Alex will do a quick introduction what GBIF is. And after that, we'll start the interview. And if there are any questions, we'll do those at the end. And then, well, that's it for today. So I am very biased, but I obviously love what GBIF is doing because I actually 10 or so years ago did work there. So some of the things that Alex is tearing down or has torn down were actually built up by me. And yeah, I'm happy. I'm really happy that they chose to move to Stackable for factual reasons. So we'll learn more about that later. So I'll let Alex give a quick introduction, and then I'll hand it over, or I'll take it over again for a quick Stackable introduction, if that's okay, Alex.
It is. Yeah. So my name is Aleksander. I've been in GBIF for 3 years now. I was onboarded to help with the migration from Cloudera onto Stackable. And we'll get into the reasons for why we choose Stackable a bit later in the interview. But a bit about GBIF. GBIF is the facility that facilitates global biodiversity information. Our mission is to mobilize data and technologies to make biodiverse information more freely available and easier to access and work with. And in that, on that mission, there's a bunch. We are running a bunch of different tools for that. We have, for example, hosted portals, which is something like a tool that institution and publishers can use to make a customized portal showcasing a selected set of some specific data they want to show in their portal. We have infrastructure hosting, a lot of data sets, a lot of records of observation on biodiverse birds, flowers, whatever there's out there in the open green world, which you can search through and look up on our website. Yeah, as you can see, I took a bit. We have a lot of records, and with a lot of records, we need to store a lot of data, and that is one of the challenges that we have had, is like, how do we ensure that we can host all this data and make and process it so it's prepared and usable for the end users. One of the things that we also do is that we have tools that enables institution or other registered publishers to publicize the data into our infrastructure and create references so it can be cited in later scientific works through the citations, or when, for example, there's going to be made a decision on anything within the domain of biodiversity. It could, for example, be when a government is planning or building a bridge or a new tunnel or other projects like that. Yeah, the facility is GBIF, the secretary that is that lives in Copenhagen currently, is built up of 4 teams. We have the participation and engagement team, which is responsible for operating the network of participants and publishers. I think here you can see a map over all the participants we have in the network, and they ensure that these participants and publishers are coordinated and ensuring onboarding new members and helping them through that process. Then we have data products, which is helping with ensuring the quality and the scientific value of the data being integrated into the products we have. Then we have the informatics team, which is where I sit, which are running the processing, ensuring that the data processes pipelines are running and the infrastructure is running. And then we have the administration that takes care of the more administrative work, ensuring the contracts are properly filled and ensuring the international meetings are being run as they're supposed to. Yeah, so that's a bit about GBIF. There are more experienced and better presenters than me. I'm more of a tech guy myself, so if I'm talking too fast or
it's all good.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast. It's not within my skill set to present nicely. Anyway, I think that was a bit about GBIF. This last one just showcased how many publishers there are for each region, where you can see we have a lot of people actually publishing and using the portal. I think I don't think it's in the slides, but July we had recorded about 4,500,000 visitors on the site, looking up biodiverse information and interacting with the portal, if it's interesting for anybody. Yeah, I think that was a small introduction to GBIF.
Okay, thank you very much, Aleksander. And yeah, I can just encourage everyone to just go to gbif.org and look at the site. It just looks beautiful. There's no ads on it, which you don't see today usually. And I'm a fan of maps. If you scroll down to the very bottom, it was in the first slide of Aleksander in the background. You see maps. They're just stunningly beautiful, and you can zoom in. It's all rendered, I think, still live, or most of it. And yeah, you can zoom into your backyard. You can select stuff, see which animals and whatever have been recorded in your backyard. And yeah, it's just fantastic. So yeah, and Aleksander, I think you put it up. The GBIF, the ones paying basically are those participants that you briefly put up. So it's countries at the country level that pay for the secretariat and all the staff. So all of this information can be shared, and it's not stuck in some university in Germany or whatever. So yeah, this is fabulous. And another thing you didn't mention is that almost, oh well, you hinted at it. Almost all of it is like open, and it's also the code and whatever. It's all open source. So this is just fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, did you?
Yeah, that was a very important part I sort of glazed over, is that we go by the philosophy of open data and open source, and that's, I guess, also one of the reasons why we went with Stackable. But now I'm getting a bit ahead.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, so then briefly about Stackable. I mean, you're here, so I assume you know at least a bit what we're doing. So I keep it really, really brief. We have a product. It's called Stackable Data Platform, and we have all of these open source tools: Apache Airflow, NiFi, Kafka, Druid, HBase, and whatnot. We have all of them in there. We wrap them up, we package them up, so you can run them on Kubernetes. And we have security, authentication, authorization, monitoring, log aggregation, whatnot. So yeah, this is our product. This is what we're building. We are proud of it. And by the way, I'm Lars Francke, CTO and Co-Founder. So it would be, obviously I'm proud. But we have been able to do this for 5 years already. So starting next week, we're actually celebrating 5 years of Stackable, and yeah, I'm happy about that. And if you want to get started, or if you want to try it out, you can use Stackable CTL, Stackable Control. You have to have a Docker locally installed Kubernetes. You have to download Stackable CTL, but then with a single command, you can install our stuff in your running Kubernetes cluster. And what we also have, if you want to get started with Stackable quickly, is we have a bunch of demos and tutorials. So again, you see here a demo. You can roll it out yourself on your local machine. It'll deploy a whole stack with everything. It'll ingest data, and in this case, it'll have a dashboard where you can see stuff and so on. So we try to provide really easy ways to try Stackable. You can do so on our homepage. Go to Learn and then the demos, and then again, Stackable CTL, this command line tool, will help you to get everything up and running. We also like to feed our families and whatnot. So while everything we do is fully open source, all of this stuff, it's fully open source, including everything we're doing. We do offer subscriptions where you can get support from us. So if you're interested in having all of this with a professional subscription where you can open tickets and whatnot, then you're welcome to contact us anytime. So I will keep this bit very, very brief, but we have a bunch of customers. I won't talk about all of them, I promise. We have the city of Freiburg, for example, where we're doing a smart city project, and these are just the customers where we already have a use case on our website. So we have more. Obviously, we have Atruvia, the German company that's doing all of the banking, the IT for Volks- and Raiffeisenbanken. Martin GmbH, they do something entirely different. They do what's it called in English? Plants like for waste recycling plants and so on. So they use us. We have for the manufacturing industry, you would find a use case on our website. We are also participating in the Gaia X project, if this is something that interests you, for Marispace X, Cosmic X. But we also have other customers, and one of our users is GBIF. And yeah, I mentioned already everything open data, everything, and you just migrated to Stackable this year. And yeah, basically what we want to do now is just briefly do an interview with Aleksander. I have a couple of questions prepared, and so I'll just so we'll just switch to the interview section now. And I'm not sure if Fabian mentioned this at the beginning. We have the comments section where you can ask questions, and if there are any questions, we'll answer them at the end. But yeah, we'll see about that. Okay, So let's just jump right into the interview section. So first of all, I'm obviously very curious. You did run a Cloudera, which is our competitor, instance, and you moved to Stackable.
Yes.
I'd be interested in learning the reasons for this move. So if you can share just a couple of sentences, that would be great.
A few, I can. So to start with, the team have it was running on Cloudera when I joined, and they were basically already have been the decision to sort of start looking at alternatives. And as I understood it, at some release from Cloudera, they decided to move away from the philosophy of open source, which sort of collide with the idea that we are running with in GBIF. So that was mainly the reason why we started looking at alternative, because we would like to have the products we are running open source and available, so we can look inside of it and have easily access to it. I understand that from the team that it has been running very well, Cloudera, since they implemented it, and it saved them a lot of time. And that was also some of the points that Stackable, you guys are providing, is that is a very easy, accessible, and quickly to set up and configure an environment, as most of your demos showcase, which was a reason why we choose Stackable. Open source, packaged products, easy to start using, and we were able, and also we had a good relation with some people from Stackable as well, so that always helped us well, right?
Yeah. I mean, infrastructure as code helps. As I said, I was part of the Cloudera team 10 plus years ago, and yeah, you have to do everything by clicking, or back then at least. So yeah, no, thank you very much for that. But I guess you kind of hinted it already. There are alternatives. You could have also migrated to the cloud. You could have chosen Databricks. You could have gone to Snowflake. You could have upgraded Cloudera. I guess you already said open source. You want to see everything being available. Yeah. That's a big part of that.
Also, yeah, as you mentioned, like there's alternative, but we wanted something closer to what we already have, because we are not that big of a team. So we have to ensure that we don't plan a lot of overhead. So we had an Apache Hadoop ecosystem running in our infrastructure, and Stackable had the same ecosystem available in their products. So that was like the closest related to what we already knew. So that's also were a big part of it, instead of changing the whole over to a whole new product.
Yeah. Makes for a smoother migration.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, I had planned this question for later, but I would move it ahead now, because it's very nice of you to say that we offer the same stuff. I know that it's not 100% true, because you did have some migrations that you did have to do. You did have to move from Spark 2 to Spark 3, I believe. You had to move from Apache Uzi to Apache Airflow. You had to move from U to Superset, and I think you introduced Trino as well.
Yeah.
Some of them I would call just modernizations, like the upgrade from Spark 2 to Spark 3 would have happened anyway. Uzi to Airflow is, also something maybe to move to a more modern stack. But how did that go? Were there any like big surprises? Or how did this migration go as well?
Like without getting, like the Spark 2 to Spark 3 is is something everybody has encountered when migrating. Like you have a large stack of dependencies and libraries with dependencies within them in the Java ecosystem. So there was a lot of ensuring that the processes we had could run with the new dependencies. And with that, a bunch of dependency collisions, you could say we encountered quite a few of them. In regards to Uzi and Airflow, as I understood, I haven't used Uzi that much, but as I understood it, it was like a synchronized, a directional async graph for executing a workflow, which basically is the same in Airflow. But it was more like we had to translate some of the workflows from, I think it was just an XML describing it, to Python code and darks within Airflow. Yeah. And one of the bigger challenges was actually to sort of separate, because in Uzi it sort of lives in the Yarn cluster, if I remember correctly, and Yarn just gives the executors that Uzi wants, while in Airflow we had to do a bit of work with the Spark templates and ensuring that all, like, we could customize different executions via parameters. And so there were quite a bit of work understanding Airflow actually, and incorporating these templates so we got them running a bit more smooth.
Okay.
Okay. And the last one, Superset and Hui, it's not something that was that much used. It's mostly used internally for lookup in the data in regards to questions and so on. And I have been talking a bit with some of the people using it, and they like they can quickly extract it into a CSV and download it. And there's the query history. I think it was also in Uzi, but it's more personalized since you have your own user in Superset. And we haven't really dived into some of the other tools that Superset provides, like the charts or the data sets you can create so you can easily look up stuff. But maybe it's something that will be looked at in the future. Yeah.
We'll be here.
Good.
Thank you. Okay. I mean, some migration pains are to be expected with any big upgrade, I guess. So, moving from Uzi to Airflow, I understand that can take a bit, but Uzi has also been retired upstream in Apache, so the migration was inevitable to something else. And I think, biased, but I think you made the right decision. But not only did you move,
I think so as well.
Yeah. Not only did you move from Cloudera to Stackable, we also have a dependency on Kubernetes. And I understand you didn't run Kubernetes before and you had to introduce that. I know with talking with other customers, sometimes they think that's scary because it's another system to operate. How did that go? How did it go?
Yeah, that's mainly my responsibility. I'm trying, of course, to introduce people to it that are interested in it. But it was it was quite a task, and that's also why it took quite some time for us, because we wanted to do the migration in a secure and stable way. And so what we ended up doing was that we are running on our own Ion, so we are self-hosting all our servers. I think we have some cloud providers for storing some snapshots that we then make accessible through some of their tools. But we run all the servers ourselves, mostly, outside of the hosting of these snapshots that you can search. But what we did was we had some servers that weren't doing that much work because they were in their end of life. So we started using those. I got them to start setting up and a kube cluster and starting testing the Stackable products. I think what we did was we made a 4-node cluster to start with, and then we ran some demos. And then after understanding the demos a bit, we started doing some performance testing of the HBase and seeing how that was running. So there was a lot of building up the script as the infrastructure around the Kubernetes cluster. And it required a bit of work, but many of the things in Kubernetes is very mature in the newer releases. So there's also public scripts for actually running or starting installing a node and joining them up. I think it's some guy has them publicly. He does a lot of Ansible as well. Now I can't remember him.
Okay, so and again, it was a learning curve, but it wasn't too bad. And I guess it sets you up for future things as well. You can use Kubernetes for. It's not like Kubernetes is going away. Okay, thank you. You already mentioned briefly, so you had this environment on outdated hardware, which is fabulous. I mean, reusing this hardware and for this perfect use case. But you also had in the existing cluster, I think you had 2 petabytes worth of data, and you had to migrate that over. So how did that migration plan go? How did that go?
So it was it was a longer process, but because we also wanted it to be stable and not have any downtime. So in a long period of time, we were running like the new stackable stack, or in a separate environment where we then slowly migrated the processes, tried to load in data, run the Spark data pipelines, see that things are running. And then when we came to the actual migration, we did this together with moving to a new data center. So it was kind of a big move, but basically in the new data set, we set up the new servers we got, and then we started up our stackable stack on that after many months of testing and verifying and understanding. We set that up, and then we moved. I can't remember how much, but a good chunk of the data we moved into these new servers. And then I believe we set up like a switch where it was like, if you cannot find the data on this HDFS, look at the new one.
Okay.
And then we could move some more of the previous then we could move more servers from the previous location to the new one, and then we sort of did like a running switch over to the new data center and to the new stack as well.
Okay. So that was a lot of moving parts then.
Yeah,
congratulations for executing it. I think everything is running now, right? Is the old one shut down already, or is it still? Okay, so the switch with looking at the old data center, that's not happening anymore. Okay.
No. It's because we didn't have enough space in the old data center to run
physical space.
The whole thing. Yeah, there was no. We also had to move out, but there was no space, so it was sort of integrated into that. We had to do this switching anyway, like between the 2 data centers.
Okay.
But it was a good step to see, like, if we could turn off the old one, like the old Cloudera environment.
So I obviously did prepare questions, and my next question would have been what the most complex technical challenges were during the migration, but I'm just assuming that you already mentioned them. This whole migration with this 2-step or multi-step process and switching over to the old one, that seems like a relatively complex process. Or was there anything even more challenging during the migration?
Yeah, I don't like we ran into quite a like that. It has not been smooth sailing. There was a lot of experiences we made through the process. For example, we had in the old Cloudera, we had sort of overlooked some of, because Cloudera was very much like you could change values in the UI, while in the stackable world, you load them in through config maps in the Kubernetes environment.
Yeah.
So we have sort of, it's something that we have learned on the other side, is that we have not been able to maybe capture all of the important parts, or overlooked some of the parts that came with like running it in Cloudera compared to running it in Kubernetes, that we should have maybe been testing a bit more and being aware of during the migration, because we have had some configuration that has had quite some impact on some of the performances in, for example, HBase that we have been fighting to iron out and get up to speed.
Okay. So, I mean, we didn't prepare this bit, but that sounds like a perfect reason to use infrastructure as code. If you had something set up in the GUI on one side and then forgot to bring it over to the other side because it's just hidden in some graphical user interface, that's a perfect reason to use this infrastructure as code approach. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm very fond of infrastructure as code because it is always, you always know what you have, right? In the repo.
Yeah, we too. And there are some challenges with performance, moving to a different architecture, moving to Kubernetes where you don't have the necessarily direct attached storage and those kind of things. We are still working on some of those kinks, but in general, I believe everything works smoothly now, and the performance is, as far as I understand, good enough for you. It can always be improved.
Yep.
So my next question would be, and I think you already answered, or we answered this as part of this as well already. What are some other benefits? Yes, you got updated versions of everything. You have Kubernetes and so on. But what are other benefits in operating this maybe and so on that you encountered? I'm just going to name one. I mean, this move to infrastructure as code will make things much easier. And I also believe that it will be much easier for you to just set up a test environment somewhere else. You can even run it on your laptop because you have all of this stuff now. You can run it in Kubernetes. You can run it on your machine. So I'm just going to assume / hope that these are some improvements. Also, scaling should be a bit easier, flexible in running multiple versions and so on. But are there any other things that you
You almost already took one of the points is that it's been easier to scale now because with Stackable, for example, what we have been doing is that we have expanding the HDFS cluster. We basically just say, we create a new group, which you call it, and then we get 4 nodes and they spin up and automatically join the name node, and then they are there. And then we basically just have to run a balancer, and then they are an integrated part of the HDFS system. And in that way, it's quite easy to add new nodes to the infrastructure or running more name nodes. And you have been very good at in your stackable objects in Kubernetes world to enable customization, label selection, overloading of default config values, adding environment variables, and so on. Some of the things that some products maybe is hiding a bit away in the background. You have tools to actually interact with it, which has been very helpful.
Okay. Yeah, there's no reason for us hiding anything because it's all open source anyway. So we want to make it as configurable. There's so many different customer environments out there. There's no chance we'll get every setting integrated there to get everything. So we wanted to provide those overrides. Okay.
Another thing is also you have already incorporated logging and monitoring, which is basically you could basically, as you also write in the documentation, use the Prometheus stack, and then it's automatically scrapped into Prometheus. So that's also very nice that comes out of the box on the product you are running.
You're doing it again. You took away my next question. That would have been whether you're using the log aggregation and monitoring features and so on. Because one of our philosophies is that we don't want to develop anything where there's already an industry standard. And that same thing goes for monitoring, where we have Prometheus integration everywhere, and log aggregation. So that's set up. So you're using that and you're happy with it.
Most of the time, yes.
Most of the time, happy.
Most of the time,
okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
The log aggregation have been a bit fiddling from time to time, but we are happy that it's easy to pick up the logs from the infrastructure and put it in an Elasticsearch somewhere.
Okay. So we are happy to talk about the not so nice bits at a later point. So if there's anything, let us know. I'm almost already at the end. So just 2 or 3 more questions from my end is, if you could redo, or if you had to redo this process again today, would you do anything differently from the lessons learned? Because it's nice to hear what your migration looked like, but if others now do the same thing, it would be nice to say, yes, this worked, but I would do this differently.
Yeah, we had a lot of like what we have migrated is basically the infrastructure backend for storing and processing data, but we also have a lot of web services for making all this data available and presenting it and activating some of these workflows that are now running in Airflow. And back when we started the migration, we sort of made the decision to try and keep the scope of the migration as contained as possible. So we didn't migrate any of the web services and see it, like all the queue systems and so on that still live outside, and that we might would have taken into the consideration and actually migrated that with it, because during the testing period where we was figuring out how to do this migration, when we finally had to do it and using Stackable, we spent quite some time fighting like this integration between the VMs outside to connect properly into the products running in Kubernetes.
Yeah.
And you of course have most of the services available on node ports and through services, but there is some cases where we had to do a little bit of sort of translation.
Yeah.
And it's mainly in regards to more specifically, it was HBase causing problems.
Yeah.
But we got around it, and that might be something I would say that maybe if we had to do it again, take them in with the migration, and so they easier integrates into the whole thing.
Okay.
Or at least.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's something that we did in the last 2-ish releases. So our latest release, the 25.7 release, we integrated something that we call the listener operator into the entire platform. And that is a new operator that is responsible for making services available to the outside world in a predictable way. We already found, as with all big rollouts, we already found some glitches, and we're working on improvements for the next release. So I hope that some of the things that you encounter will be fixed in our next release, which is due out in November. So yeah, we hope this was a big introduction to big change, architecture change to our platform, and we are ironing out some of the kinks. Sorry for that. And that already leads me to my last question, which you also already hinted at. So it's a 3-part question. So first of all, we know that we are not without faults. Was there anything that we could have done better? Is there anything missing in the platform that you would have liked to see?
I think
no, excellent. Thank you. No, go ahead.
Like in the start, we were very early in the process when you were still working on the web page, and back then there was like the documentation were maybe a little bit thin, but a couple of releases and then the documentation was very filled, and you have a good examples and everything. So I cannot complain about that anymore, right? You already. But and understand that it was like early in the process. Outside of that, maybe now we are self-hosting, and some of the things we have encountered with self-hosting is we had to find sort of like how we had to do some of the things on the self-hosted cluster, and if you want, you could maybe help provide some of the tooling for running it on a self-hosted environment as well. So the customers that wants to do that in the future is even more prone to say, okay, we can do it because you guys are already providing storage classes and provisioners and whatever we need for example, an integration to set up, log into the Kubernetes itself or something to make that an easier process for self-hosting.
We started, so our documentation now has a section, it's something called Kubernetes providers or something like this, where we have specific instructions for specific Kubernetes providers, and that's something that we're working on. So point taken. It still won't be perfect. It still won't address all your issues, but it is something we are interested in. Obviously, it's in our own best interest to make it as easy as possible to get started with Stackable in as many environments as possible. So that is something. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. So my very, very last question is just, would you do it again?
Do the migration again?
Yeah, well, if you had to pick Stackable now, if you were, again, you had a Cloudera cluster and you had to move to something else again, would you pick Stackable again with what you learned, and would you do this migration again?
Yes.
With the caveats like that. Okay, thank you.
Because, there was like, I didn't know the products that well to start with, but by working with Stackable, I understand how much there is behind the scenes in like ensuring configurations are generated and put where placed to the correct places, environment variables exported to load those configurations. All that is packed in so nicely in Stackable. So
okay, excellent. Thank you very much. So with that, I am done, and thank you for joining us. I would now move to the Q&A section. I don't see any questions. I'm not sure if you don't have any, which is also fine. Or if there's anything I'm not seeing, Fabian.
Yeah, Lars, I think we are scarce on questions, which might signal that you answered every bit which viewers expected. So and I wouldn't stress it. I think we touched a lot of points today. And as always, I mean, you know how to reach us. And if you are shy to ask something publicly, then just reach out to us, and or reach out to GBIF, and we are all happy to answer your questions also afterwards. Do you want to say final words, Lars, or shall I close the talk?
I can say final words. That's fine with me. So first of all, thank you, Aleksander, and your colleagues as well, for the journey, for agreeing to help us out here, for talking about the GBIF journey. And we are looking forward to working together, improving, and see where this takes us. I still look at the maps every couple of weeks. So it's, and now I know that it's running software that my colleagues have written. It's even better. So no, thank you very much. And
and thank you for having me. And I would like to thank Stackable for all the sparring and support that we received from you guys during the migration. Like, it was good to have somebody to ask questions and like get inputs to some of the results we are getting for read speed and some of the performance tests we have been running. You also were very nice and provided a test we actually could run on our very early clusters to see some of the data we were looking for. So I would like to thank you for that.
You're very welcome. And with that, I think we can close 10 minutes early, give you 11 minutes back from your lunchtime. If you need to reach out to us, as Fabian said, I'm not sure if the slide is up. I don't think it is, but you can reach us via our info@stackable address, or send me an email to my personal address, lars.francke@stackable.tech. We have a Discord where you can join. We have the GitHub discussions where you can open issues and discussions, and we are always open for comments and feedback. With that, thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.